All right, and welcome into this week's episode of Play by Play. I am your host, Andy Horton, alongside my co-host, Jared Bergstrom. This is episode number 148, and we are inching our way towards the dog days of summer. It does not feel like it outside because it will just not stop raining here in the Dayton area. But all that being said, we got a lot of baseball to talk about. There's the NBA Finals that is getting its way to inching to a close. So we will talk about the last couple games that have gone on there and some drama in the WNBA last night. We don't talk about a lot of WNBA, but there's some throwdowns to react to, I guess. So we'll talk about a little bit about that. And we can also talk about the end of the Stanley Cup because that happened, and the Stanley Cup is already damaged. It happened pretty quickly. We can maybe pull up some of the memes or talk about how that happened a little bit. But we got a full show to get into. So without further ado, where are we starting, Jared?
I don't know. I have the MLB standings and stuff pulled up. If you want to start there, we can start there and talk with the big splash that the Giants made on Father's Day, kind of breaking open the trade deadline, which is, hold on, let me see, how many days away are we from
We're
it?
about 6 weeks from.
Oh, I thought it was closer than that.
From what I was hearing.
July 3rd. Oh, wow, we are still quite a way away from it.
July 31st?
Yeah. Dang.
Okay.
But, I mean, the Giants going out, trading for Rafael Devers out of Boston for Jordan Hicks and, I forget, there was somebody else. I don't know if it was a minor leaguer or... Was
it Kyle Harrison?
Yes.
Is that
yes.
his name? Yeah. He's not a minor leaguer, but as soon as Boston acquired him, they sent him to the minor league.
Okay, then he is a minor leaguer.
I mean, now he is.
Right. I was, and we've talked about it the last couple of weeks, how Devers kind of been a diva, not wanting to play first base because he was promised that or whatever was said when he got to Boston and he was just going to DH. But I felt like it was going to happen. He was going to be traded out because the front office and probably didn't want to deal with him. And they did. The Giants made a move, sending Jordan Hicks, which wasn't a bad righty out from their rotation, and Kyle Harrison.
And then also a pair of outfield prospects, James Tibbs, the third, the number 4 prospect at the time of the deal, and Jose Bellos. So, you know, Boston, they definitely are. They are going to get some good prospects in return, but Rafael Devers is a big player to, give away for. He hasn't had the season, or he had a really slow start to the season, but since then he's really picked things up, hitting 275, or 274, 76 hits, 15 homers, 59 RBIs. So he has had a pretty good season, but he was just kind of causing a lot of problems. In Boston, he wasn't wanting to cooperate, and so they ended up moving him out. Big Papi came out and kind of defended the Red Sox for the move after the trade. And then Jordan Hicks, like you said, pretty good baseball player. This season, he's kind of struggled. His ERA is at 6.47 in 13 games. But career 4.23 ERA, 16 wins to 33 losses, so that's not great. But he's just kind of, not a great, kind of an average pitcher that can be a nice middle of the rotation guy, get you through innings. And then Kyle Harrison, yeah, definitely a little younger, 23 years old. He's only played in 39 career MLB games with an ERA of 4.5 this season, and it's just a hair under 4.5 on the career. So, yeah, it's not like Boston didn't get good players in return, along with the two prospects in which I haven't talked about. But, you're giving up a guy like Devers that is a lot. He's a great player. He's a great slugger. And one of the things I have heard some people complain about, I was listening to Talking Baseball podcast earlier, and they were saying that, it's not completely like the Luka Mavs deal was, where they just pretty much called up the Lakers and said, hey, you want this deal? Yes, okay, cool. It wasn't exactly like that, but from the understanding around the league, he wasn't openly shopped that well. It's not like, it was a deal that kind of came out of nowhere and surprised a lot of people. Slugging percentage this year, just another stat that popped up on ESPN for me, 504 this season. He's slugging the heck out of the baseball, and on-base percentage at 401. So, like I said, he's having a fantastic season so far. And it's definitely not going to help the Red Sox case in the standings this year, I would say. They're currently, fourth, I think I saw?
Yes.
Yeah, fourth in the AL East, and currently half game back of the wild card. So they're definitely in the mix there. But I don't know, losing one of your best offensive players definitely will hurt. Now, they have brought up a few really big prospects as of late. They brought up Roman Anthony last week, and he's gotten off to a pretty nice start. And then, who was the other kid that they recently brought up? Maybe it was the David Hamilton kid? I don't know. I saw someone else who recently just got brought up by Boston as well, and he has played pretty good so far as well. So, they're getting contributions from their young guys and stuff. And something else that people were talking about with the trade was, it kind of sounded like Boston is a little cash-strapped, which is weird for the Red Sox. They're one of those premier brands that you think they can spend. You kind of think they have bottomless pockets. So there's definitely some weird parts about the trade. Boston fans, most of them not happy. Wish that we could have gotten more back in return. But I mean, at the end of the day, I guess it makes Boston more flexible in the future. And all you can really say is you wish you would have gotten more back.
Let me look how much.
His contract was like $250 million.
Okay, I was going to see how much that clears for Boston. See if they could make $254 million. So that could free up a lot that they can go and make another move or sign somebody. But yeah, and normally when you start to see big names start to go off the board early, it can kind of start a snowball effect, and you'll start to see other teams that have some players who are that could be on the move this year. I have an article pulled up about a couple. These look mostly like pitchers, which I guess wouldn't be bad. One is going from the Red side of things. One that I might want to look at is Kyle Finnegan from the Nationals. He's a right-handed reliever, and the Reds can always use more help in the bullpen.
Yeah, I'm a big Kyle Finnegan fan. He's a guy that, with my great experience on MLB The Show, Rick and I have used him quite a few times. He, at least on the game, he's good. But no, he does have pretty good numbers as well.
Yeah, he's 18 saves, 3.2 or 3.1 ERA. All-star last year, and he gets 65% of his outs by the ground ball. So that's something that is good because we know how short Great American Ballpark is.
Yeah.
So he ain't going to get a fly ball.
Yeah, and something else that is, I would say, is a good thing. He's only pitched 26 innings so far this season. The Reds have relied on their bullpen massively so far this year. So that's another reason why having some extra bullpen help down the stretch could be a big thing for the Reds, as I'm switching over to see it right now. I mean, I was there last night, and I know that wrong name. Let's try. Barlow and Tony Santillan have both pitched over 30 innings and had over 30 appearances. Emilio Pagan has 31 appearances and 31 innings pitched. And so, you know, I guess they are kind of right in the same area, but, you know, you get another really nice arm, and you're able to save maybe one of these guys for later. And I traditionally am an Ian Jabot guy, and he hasn't been terrible this year. But, you know, if you go and you get a guy like Cal Finnegan, then maybe you can move on from one of these lower like leverage, lower value guys in the bullpen, and you can go and pick up a guy like him.
Do we want to walk around the league first? You kind of talked about the American League East already with Boston. Yankees are clinging to a 2.5 game lead over the Rays, which the Yankees are on a downfall. They have lost 5 in a row. They haven't scored a run in, I think, 29 innings.
Oh, wow. Holy cow.
Yeah. And they have, let me look at their schedule. They have gotten, are they swept by the? They just got swept by Boston. They've lost the first 2 in the series with the Angels. Yeah. I don't know what's going on in New York, but kind of like to see it implode in their faces.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer that's going to keep up. But then you talked about the Rays, how they're right behind them. Well, that's because the Rays have won 18 of their last 25, going on an absolute tear. And, scoring a fair amount of runs in that time, too. I mean, just a few of the games, 7-1, 9-0, 8-4, 7-5. Those last 3 in a sweep over the Mets. They lost 2 against Boston, where the offense struggled a little bit, but then 10-8 against Boston. Lost a high-scoring affair to the Marlins, 11-10, but then they got back to their winning ways, 5-4, 5-1, 16-3, 13-3, 5-0, 7-2, 13-0. And those aren't all consecutive. I'm just kind of jumping around and jumping down that 25-game stretch. Their offense has been really hot as of late, and it's, allowed them to really go on a run.
And looking at what this is by, I think it's by Buster Olney, kind of looking at what each team needs. Going into the deadline with a little over a month left, he says the Rays just need clarity and leadership because they're a lot younger of a franchise or maturity-wise than a lot of the other teams. I mean, they have, let me see if I recognize some of them. Outside of Bradley.
Well, Jonathan Armada, he's only been in the league for 3 or 4 years, and he's having a fantastic season so far, hitting 322 or 323, 8 homers. They're being led by Junior Caminero when it comes to the home run department, but you can't forget about guys like Brandon Lowe and Yandy Diaz, all 3 in triple digits. And all 3 hitting a respectable 255 or above. And something else about all 3 of them, and you actually look at their top 4 guys, you know, they're all, they all do a really good job of drawing walks as well. I mean, not like killing the whole world and getting walked every single night, but 20, 17, 19, 29, and last night's Reds game, which we'll talk more about later, is a great example of why walks, can really, walks are so important.
Mm-hmm.
The Reds were walked 8 times last night, had 5 hits, scored 6 runs, left 9 on base. You don't have to, hit the ball all over the yard to win every night. You would prefer to do it that way.
Yeah.
But sometimes things don't go your way, and when you're not getting, at one point I looked up at the scoreboard last night, and it said, I think 14 hit balls, 9 of them were hard hit balls, and the Reds had 2 hits. Sometimes it just happens like that, and sometimes things just don't bounce your way, and you have to figure out ways to force things to go your way in different ways, and they did that last night. And just making the point that these guys, one of the things that's caused the Rays to be able to go on this really strong streak over the last 25 games is the fact that their guys are able to get on base in other ways. I mean, and it's not just them. Jose Cabrero, I hope I'm saying that correctly, 22 walks. Taylor Walls, 21. Danny Jensen, 21. Like, they've been walked 225 times this season. I don't know. Maybe that leads the league. I don't. But that's a lot of walks.
Let me look. The most walked. No, I don't want that. The Yankees have been walked 286 times. The Rays.
Well, I guess the Yankees make sense.
The Rays are 20th with 225.
That's crazy, because that seems like it's a lot.
The Reds have been walked
7th with
259.
Yeah.
Reds are in the top 10.
That's crazy. 'Cause I would have thought that's a pretty good number.
Well, let me look.
I mean, it's
let me see
20,
how many.
so you're better than 2/3 or than a third of the league. It's not great, but not terrible either.
Yeah, Aaron Judge has been walked 47 times. Anthony Volpe 28. Paul Goldschmidt 25. Trent Grisham 31, and Cody Bellinger 29. Yeah.
Not the last couple games.
No. Teams find out they can pitch to them, and they'll just be out. Ugh. Oh, let's go back to standings. Let's see. Now let's go to... I don't really think we have to talk about the American League Central. Detroit, even with us taking 2 out of 3, they still have a 9.5 game lead in the division.
Yeah, it got back to 20 games over 500 last night. And I'll tell you what, that was such an awesome series to watch and to listen to this weekend. I would have been happy if the Reds could have taken 1 out of 3. But able to go up to Detroit, a team that's 20 games over 500, and the first game got the face beat in a little bit, and then the second game turned it around and beat their faces in. And the third game, it was a back and forth affair. And normally when other teams strike first, I'm not 100% sure what the stat was, but both teams are very good when they score first this year. It's like the Tigers were like 30-something and 3, and the Reds were like 27 and 7 or something like that. Both teams exceptional records when they score first. And the Tigers scored first, and the Reds were able to fight back. And I kind of felt like I didn't feel like the Reds were going to win it going into the series, like they were going to take Game 3. But when I woke up Sunday morning, I had a weird feeling that the Reds had a chance to break the 39 game streak where the Reds split the first 2 of a best of 3 and weren't able to win the rubber match in Game 3. It was the first time that the Reds were able to win a rubber match game since June of 2023. So glad that we were able to break that 20. Or excuse me, that 20. I totally messed that one up. That 2-year-long curse, because that was painful. It's been hard to watch over the last couple of years, just not being able to get over that hump. They were finally able to get over that hump against a very good Tigers team. And you know what? We were able to get away from Casey Mize. We didn't have to see him, and we didn't have to see Tarek Skubal either. So that was huge. But Jack Flannery has been awesome for them, and he didn't look awesome against us. And he's a guy that the Reds have gotten to see a fair amount because he was in St. Louis, right, for a good chunk of time. So that's a guy that we know well. And then Holton, Tyler Holton, the guy who came in and kind of was the opener in the Sunday game. That is another like top tier, really good reliever. So we were able to miss their top 2 pitchers, but that doesn't mean that we still didn't have to deal with some guys that are killers, because they are a team that's got dudes, up and down the lineup. Will Vest was the guy that kind of gave away the game 3 of the series. He struggled there and had the wild pitch that brought home, was it Stevenson? I don't know. It doesn't matter who brought home, but there's a run scored and the Reds got the lead back. And then they pulled him right after that. They were talking about him maybe being hurt, and if that is true, that could be a big loss because he's been fantastic for them this season. Will Vest in 35 innings, 9 Ks per 9, 2.5 ERA, and that's even with the bad game against the Reds. But Tyler Holton, also great reliever for them. His ERA actually has not been too great this year at 4.09. But then there's other guys that in that pen, like I said. Brant Herter, 1.67 ERA in 37 innings. They're a really good team. So can't talk enough about how good the Tigers are. Happy that the Reds were able to get out of there without getting too beat up. And Ellie, I guess it's time for that one video. Ellie did something for the first time in his career over the weekend. It started in the Cleveland series.
Ellie De La Cruz got jammed on a weaker ground ball on his first time. That grand slam was hit during a promotional inning. So Guardian fan won a car. De La Cruz, a high, towering shot to left. More than halfway up that big bleacher in left field. He rocks a home run.
Maybe we should have given away a spaceship on that one.
The rocket ride that went 441 feet. That's the team leading 13th of the year for De La Cruz. Reds are on the board. It's a right-handed home run.
The Reds had some comeback victories in the Diamondback series. And this will be the biggest ask so far if they can come back in this one, trailing 5-0 here early. 5-1 after that bomb.
Look at where this ball goes. Drilled to right field, down the line, and gone on a line. A laser by Ellie De La Cruz and the lower liner, his team leading 14th of the year. It is home run derby right now, back and forth, big flies, 3-2.
Yeah, Ellie knew that was gone as soon as he made contact. He was backing up towards the Reds dugout watching it. And that was an absolute bolt. Curveball gone.
He's had a really good 2.5 weeks. A locked-in De La Cruz helps this Reds team tremendously. Now, the skipper, Tito Francona, was asked about this surge for De La Cruz. Is this the best the Reds have seen of Ellie this year? Roar to right! Watch and admire. He destroyed it.
Ooh, somebody is warming up.
Terry Francona said, I want to be respectful to the young man. This might be unfair to him, but I think there's more in there. I think he can be even better. And he clobbers his team leading 15 homer. It is 1-0 Reds.
Well, whenever you are playing opponents that are in high regard, and make no mistake about it, the Detroit Tigers are in high regard. They're one of the best teams in baseball. That man right there, he's the one that you need to step up, and boy, is he doing that right now.
Both sides of the plate.
Hard in the air to left field, and that ball is gone. Wow. Ellie De La Cruz, sizzling line drive home run to left field. His third in the series and fourth straight game in which he's hit a home run.
First time in his career Ellie has accomplished that task. And when the ball came off the bat, both of us were thinking that's a line drive to left.
Yep.
No, it wasn't. It was a line drive into the seats and left.
That's about as low a line drive as you're going to see actually go out. Man.
Like I was telling you before the ball game, doing this a long time. He's played with some great players. And to see him do some of the things that he does, I think, wow, pretty special.
I'm a fan. But fantastic 4-game stretch by Ellie. And not only that, but he was a dog in the field. He was throwing, he had 2 guys, and he's done it 3 times in this stretch where the Reds are playing really good. Mm-hmm. He threw Corbin Carroll out at the plate. In the Diamondback series. He threw Kerry Carpenter out at the plate. I think it was game 1 or game 2 of the Tiger series. And then game 3, I am blanking on who it was that he threw out. But he threw out another guy at the plate. Oh, was it Torres? It might have been Torres. Not even close, like the third one. And the Cowboy had a great call on that one. He said he said that Trevino had time to eat a sandwich and still make the tag because it took so long. Hey, I'll see if I can find that because it's another great play. So yeah, that was a fantastic series. I guess real quick, let's hop back over to the American League and talk about the West because we kind of accidentally skipped that and we started talking about the Tigers and the Reds played the Tigers, so I went straight to the Reds by accident.
This one's Seattle's starting to chip away at what the Astros lead was. I think the Astros had it at about 7.5, 8 games, I think last week, or maybe the week before, and then Seattle's gotten it under 5, and I think Seattle has a series coming up against them, or maybe they just had one. No, that was in May. Maybe, it might be in the second half. Yes, they open up with 4 at home against the Astros. So in Seattle, they're kind of in that same situation with the Rays. They have a couple playmakers. They are young in some spots, but I'd like to see them get back and win the American League West again because I don't like the Astros. And then Texas, LA, and Oakland, they're all below 500. Texas is right around it, but I'd say LA and the Athletics are out. I know we're going into the end of the first half of the season, but they are just not stringing wins together.
I would definitely agree with that. But there's no chance. I would kind of say that it's a two-team race there between the Mariners and the Astros. I just don't see either of the other three really having enough to make a go at it. I mean, I know that Texas, they do got like their fair share of good players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they still got Simeon and is Belly still there, right? Or did he leave?
No, he's gone.
Oh, well, let's see.
No, it's just Simeon and Garcia are the two that are kind of their stat leaders. Josh Smith has been a bright spot for them this year. Wyatt Langford has come on with the long ball here late. Corey Seager, he's batting .247. He started off slow.
Corey Seager, that's who it was.
Started off slow this year.
I said Bellinger. Whoops.
But yeah, I mean, you got Marcus Simeon batting .225, .227 for Adolis Garcia. And those are the ones that are, I mean, let's see. Josh Jung out at third base, he's batting .253. So, I mean, those are your top three with consistent at-bats. And Josh Smith, like I said, .288. I think theirs is more of their pitching and their bullpen issues is why they're not, or why they're on the bottom side of 500. I mean, you got Evaldi, who's 4-3 on the year. Corbin is 3-4 or 4-5 on the year. Malley, he's 6-3, and so is Jacob deGrom. God, they've got some old pitchers. But yeah, if they can just straighten out their bullpen, I feel like the Texas could, if they get a couple pieces for their bullpen by the end of the trade deadline, then they can really make it a three-team race.
Yeah, we'll see. I just kind of think there's not quite that they're not going to be able to make the move, and that at some point, you know, these teams are going to start. A couple of these teams are going to start deciding that it's time to sell, and that the.
I mean, the Angels kind of already did that, getting rid of Ohtani 2 years ago. I don't think. They ain't got nothing else. Nobody wants an aged Mike Trout.
Someone might take him.
Yeah. I mean, even though he's doing decent this year, but it's like let's see how old he is. Where'd he go? He's only 33. He's been in the league forever then. I'd tell you the bright spot, and if they're looking to be sellers, Taylor Ward might be on the move. Their left fielder, he has a hot bat. Batting, okay, not average-wise, but he leads their team in home runs with 18 and 49 ribbies. So, team looking for extra power could be looking to get Taylor Ward. Ooh, let's see. Now we can go to the National League side. The Phillies and the Mets are kind of just keeping. It's between those two. That's it. Braves are 8 games under 500. Nationals are 13, and Miami is in Miami. They're already on vacation mode.
I don't know if that's actually true, but yeah, I don't think that they're doing too much.
No, and they're probably going to trade away Sandy Alcantara. That's why they're kind of his starts have been short enough to give people sample sizes of what he can do because they're looking to trade him. They've been talking about that they were talking about that when the Reds played him. Let's see. We'll skip over the Central now and go down to to the NL West, where it's kind of Arizona's been slipping back a little bit. 8 games back now at 500, but everybody else within 5 games of the Dodgers. And that division, I think last year produced two out of the 3 wild card teams, and they could probably do it again this year, especially giving Devers that hot bat. Dodgers their offense hasn't been consistent. Their run differential has dropped considerably over the last 2 weeks. If Devers gets hot over in San Francisco and hits a bunch of balls into McCovey Grove, they could be knocking the Dodgers out of the division and out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. Not that I just don't see the Dodgers missing the playoffs. They would have to really, they would have to fall on some really hard times. I guess I haven't technically looked at where the Dodgers currently stand. But yeah, they're 3.5 games up on their division, which that doesn't really mean that much. But let's just look at the expanded version. And go to the league. It's what, the top 6 teams make the playoffs? Right?
Yes. Well, you got your 3 division winners and then 3 wild card.
Well, the top 3 are different divisions, so they'd have to drop back 6 games ish, 5-6 games, in order a chance for that to happen. Which, yeah, like I said, obviously it's not that cannot happen. It's just the Dodgers are really good, and so I don't know if I'm gonna go and say that they're gonna miss the playoffs. That being said, though, maybe they don't win the division with them with Devers being added and the Padres just still being a good team, and you got to think that they're gonna try and add. The Diamondbacks, they are a really weird team. They just ride the roller coaster. They're up, they're down, and they won 5 in a row coming into the Red series, and then the Reds swept them, and then they won 5 in a row after that. And now they're on a 2-game losing streak. They got players, and yeah, we were listening to Talking Baseball on the way in here. They were kind of doing like a trade deadline episode, and they were like, the Diamondbacks, they're a team that if they do fall out and they do decide that they are sellers, they got a lot of pieces. When you're talking about Josh Naylor or Gino Suarez or maybe Gurriel was one that they said, and that is just when you're talking about position players. When you flip over and talk about their pitching, it's their bullpen is struggled this year, but they still got some good guys like Shelby Miller, who's performed well in 30 outings. He's got a 2.7 or a 2.17 ERA. Jalen Beeks, a 3.15 ERA. So there are some bright spots there in the bullpen. But Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen, 2 awesome starting pitchers. Neither of them have had like the world's greatest season, though I will say Merrill Kelly's having a pretty dang good one. 3.4 ERA and 87 innings pitched and 15 starts, 8-6 record. 6-3 record, 8 quality starts. So, every time he's going out there, he's giving you a good outing. So yeah, but that's a team that if they are going to be sellers, a lot of people think that they could really have a lot of different pieces that the teams want.
Now the National League Central. Cubs are keeping it at about a 5.5 game, 6.5 game lead over the Brewers. Cardinals and Reds are 7 back, and Pittsburgh's in the basement. Reds are 8-2 over their last 10. The Cubs are 6-4, but everybody else is below 500 or below their last 10, which that doesn't really make that big of a difference. But
Well, it means we're gaining ground. I mean, we're at least 3 games better than everyone else in the division outside of the Cubs. So definitely a good thing. Yeah, it's been a hot stretch. Won 8 of 10, 9 of 12, whichever you prefer. I'll do the 8 of 10 because that is a better percentage. And it's been against good teams. It hasn't been against schmucks. The Twins at one time, they were the hottest team in baseball. They won like 17 in a row or something like that. To get themselves on top of their division. Since then, the Tigers have taken over. But we already kind of talked about it. 2-1 versus the Tigers this past weekend. Before that, 2-1 versus the Guardians. 3-0 versus the D-backs to really wash that nasty taste out of our mouths after the Cubs and Brewers series. Really get us kind of feeling good again about being Reds fans. And Ellie's really started to heat up in the last couple of weeks. CES kind of cooled off from where he started. He was really hot for about 5 days. And TJ Friedel has also cooled down a little bit. He was sitting there above 300, just above 300. He's now down to 288. But he's TJ Friedel. He'll have it.
He'll be fine. He'll get back.
And like you said, he will be fine. Ellie leading the team in homers up to 16 now. So if anyone bet for a 30-30 for him, you're on pace. A 30-40, you're on pace. Matt McClain, those numbers are kind of starting to inch up. He got walked, I think once last night, got hit once and got a hit. And the day before, I think he had 2 hits against the Tigers. So it feels like he's starting to get things together. Yeah, he was 2 for 5 with 2 hits against the Tigers, and he was 1 for 2 with the hit and the run after and being hit last night. So things are trending in the right direction with Matty McClain, which is ever so important. Gavin Lux, one of my favorite players on the team, and talk about important. This guy, when he is ahead in the count, is unstoppable. At one point last week, I saw the stat that he was hitting 577 when he's leading in the count. Now, it might have dropped since then, but it doesn't matter. That's a ridiculous number. Spencer Steer, he's kind of hovering right there. I need better than 220, but he's been better than he was the first month and a half or so of the season.
Yes.
So, and he's been fantastic defensively. So, at least he's holding up. He's doing his job on the one end. Jake Fraley, I'm not allowed to talk good about him because when I do, bad things happen. So.
You don't talk bad about him either.
What I will say is that he gave up a 3-run homer last night, and he was very upset about that. You could see it on his face. And you couldn't really tell from where I was sitting that he gave it up. I thought that Abbott hit a home run, and he had a chance to pull it back, and he missed. And that one was kind of out of play. That one I don't think goes out of play. Like, if Jake Fraley isn't there, I'm pretty sure the ball bounces off the wall and it's a double. And instead, he jumps and it jumps off the heel of his glove and it bounces out of play. So that sucked. But Jake did have a good night last night. So that is all I will say about that. Had 2 RBIs, a strikeout, had a couple of big hits. One of the guys, I think he actually got the Reds started with the hitting because I talked about walks earlier. Reds ended up being walked 8 times last night and were being no hit through 5. And it was last night was just in general a weird game. Just a real weird feel because it felt like the Reds were, like they were kind of doing okay on offense the whole night, even though they weren't accumulating hits. Mm-hmm. It never felt like they were, knocked out of anything or whatever. Even though, like I said, like they were just picking up a ton of walks. Ellie got, Lux got walked 3 times. Ellie got walked twice. Stevenson got walked. Benson got walked. McLean got walked. And the great thing about guys like most of those guys, but Ellie specifically, is that you never want to let him on base.
Right.
He stole at least second. Like I think that's all he ended up getting was 1 last night. But he wasn't the only one that ended up picking up steals. I know that Fraley took 1, right?
Just Steer and De La Cruz had stolen base.
I thought that Fraley also took 1. But yeah, I was going to say, I knew that Steer took 1. And that steal from Steer scored a run because, that's what it was. Fraley got the hit that scored Steer after the steal. So, it was a weird one, like I said. I've said it a few times last night. But that was one where, you feel like your team's starting to play some good baseball when maybe you're not getting the bounces, but you're still able to go out there and force the other team to make some mistakes. When you're playing pretty flawless baseball, it makes it, outside of the home run that Fraley gave up, it makes it, harder on the other team to be able to execute. And the Reds did a good job of that last night.
Mm-hmm. Got 2 more with Minnesota to finish out that series and the homestand. Just have to, like you said, take advantage of Minnesota's cooling off considerably since when we talked about them, they had that hot stretch at the beginning of the season. And then you roll right into going out to St. Louis for 3 over the weekend. And God, I hate the Cardinals, so we got to keep it going there.
I definitely agree. I hate the Cardinals. And then before we are back here, we will also have the Yankee series, because that also that's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Wednesday won't have happened, but we'll be able to come back in and talk about the first 2 games of that series. Hopefully the Reds will remain hot. So do you have a prediction for the first, or for the next week?
I will go. Well, the last 2 weeks going right at 500 has been pretty good, so I'll go 4-4.
When I was about to say, when I say the Reds are going to do good, they do bad. So the last 2 weeks, I've said the Reds are going to do bad, and they've done good. So I'm going to try to keep that train rolling. So what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
8.
There's 8 games. What?
Mm-hmm.
No, because not next Wednesday.
I'm
7.
not counting one.
How's there 8 games in a week, Jared?
Okay, then 3 and 4. I'll go under 500.
I will say 0-7, but realistically, like what I actually think is that the Reds will go 4-3. But my official prediction is, we'll go 1-6. We'll go 1-6.
All right.
And we'll beat Rendon, the hardest pitcher that we got to face. Either him or I don't know who's better, Rendon, Ober, or Paddock.
I don't know. Fried has been.
Well, right, but that's Wednesday.
Oh. Then out of the 2 we face, I would say Rendon is the tougher one. Oh, and that's Martinez's start.
Hey, he's been surprisingly awesome to me. So I'll give him his flowers. Oh, and also talking about Abbott. So I don't think we've been here since he threw the complete game. 107 pitches. Was fantastic. I thought things were going to get out of hand and things were going to get a little squirrely. It was a 1-0 victory over Cleveland. I started to get nervous after he walked a couple of guys.
No, we did it last week. It was last Tuesday, so we did talk about it.
Yeah, okay. Well, he was absolutely fantastic. Last night, his first start after that, it didn't look like he was showing any signs of still being tired from the start before. And, I mean, he pitched. I thought he pitched great. He did get himself in a little bit of trouble there in the 6th. And then Fraley, like I said, he didn't give him any help on that play. But so it ended up going 4 runs against him, right? But, you know, it really good outing for him again, in my opinion. And, you know, like, when your ace goes down and you got a guy like Abbott able to come in and just, oh no, he only got 1 earned run. So that was an error on Fraley. An error that gave up 3 runs. So, good for Abbott. Didn't spike his ERA after that. But yeah, he's been fantastic, and you know, kind of the fact that he's had to step up for Hunter being out, and you know, I'm not gonna sit here and say that Wade Miley's been an all-star, but when
not after that first game we saw.
When he goes out and throws, well, no, that wasn't a start. And I don't care about his first time seeing. I don't care about the 2 innings he pitched in the first time that he got to see MLB batters after coming back from Tommy John. Not shocked that he gets roughed up. He's 38 too, so you know. But in his 2 starts, man, like a lot of Reds fans have been mad about the fact that he's only gone 5 innings and he's given up 3 runs and it hasn't looked very pretty. I don't care. If Wade Miley goes out there and pitches 5 innings and gives me 3 runs every single time, I don't care if he gives up 1,000 hits. His ERA is 6.75. That's not great. Not at all. But he's been able to go out and pitch. And, you know, he's walked, 6 guys so far and given up 9 hits in 2 games. He's been able to work around his mistakes. He threw a couple of guys out in the first game, help clear the base paths and keep the Guardians from coming back and taking the lead and anything like that. He's done his job, you know? And I kind of think that some Reds fans, have been spoiled with the fact that we have guys like Green and Abbott and Lodolo, and I'll even throw Martinez in for how he's pitched so far this season. And at times you can even say Singer. We've been spoiled with how awesome those guys have been, that when Miley, a guy who's probably just at average or maybe slightly below average MLB arm nowadays, you know, when we see a guy like him and it's not as pretty and it's not as, you know, flashy as what we're used to seeing, that we're kind of like, oh, that's not good. Well, good doesn't always look the same, you know. It comes in different packages, and this package just so happens to be Wade Miley, and until he goes out and pitches, I don't know, 3 innings and gives up 6 runs or has a really bad start, I'm good with this Wade Miley. Unless you know, they decide in the next couple weeks that, hey, Burnsy's ready, and we want to bring up Burnsy. If we want to do that, then I'll take Burns over Miley, but I also don't think that is too highly in the cards, because Burns just got moved to Louisville, right? Or is it Chattanooga? I'm not sure. I know he just got moved. But it seems as though Nick Craw is trying to slow roll things. With that.
He just had his second AAA start, looks like last night.
So Louisville.
Yeah.
How was it? Oh, you're there. It's a top prospect. You should have looked at it.
Well, that's a spring training start. I don't want that. Let's see. He went 7 innings. God, I hate their graphics. I can't tell if that's 1 run or 7 runs.
Well, what's his ERA?
No, it just has the picture from last night on Twitter.
Oh.
In the article. Let's see. Gave up just 1 run over and 3 hits on 7 innings. Didn't walk a batter, struck out 7. So he'll probably be up by
Chase Burns
September
is a bad
call-ups.
man. Man, I hope the Reds are good enough for that to matter. Could you imagine having guys like, I mean, shoot, because I got a feeling he'll be he's got to be on like an innings limit, frickin'. But could you imagine being able to add a guy like Chase Burns, Zach Maxwell, Louise May, and Louise May actually just got brought back up because Ashcraft is sick, I think, or maybe there's not quite sure what it is, but he did just hit the IL. So Louise May's back up. Being able to add all those young guys to playoff bullpen, playoff roster, that, man, I'm hoping.
Right groin for Ashcraft.
Okay.
15-day DL. Yes, yesterday.
I'm hoping that things can be fun down the stretch in Cincinnati and around Cincinnati.
Like I've said, week in and week out, just got to take the divisional series. Not necessarily sweeps, but just take the divisional series. Especially since the last month, I think it's all division of baseball. Milwaukee, Pittsburgh. Okay, not the last month, but the last 2 weeks is all division.
That will definitely play big. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, especially since we haven't won a series against Milwaukee since 2002 and haven't won a series in Great American Ballpark since 2001.
Haven't won a series against Milwaukee. Hey, we've been breaking curses this year.
We've had ample opportunity to do that against Milwaukee, and it ain't happening.
Well, we're breaking curses this year. Maybe we can break a couple of more.
Now, let's see, when do we play them after the All-Star break? See if that'll matter. Or it will matter, but see how long we got to go. My birthday. Great.
Happy birthday, Jared.
Well, I guess we'll see.
We're going to go to that one?
No, I think it's in Milwaukee.
Oh.
Yeah, in Milwaukee. So, no, we're not going to that one. All right. Now where to? We talked a lot about baseball.
We did. I think we might be just about done with baseball. So, I mean, I guess the next thing to go talk about is the NBA Finals, right?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Tell us how you really feel, Jared.
Son of a bitch! Had ample opportunity. Game 3, or was it 4? Game 4 we let slip away. And then Game 5 it just was a shitty performance from everybody. I mean, it was horrendous. It was bad watching it at times. And this is coming from a Pacers fan, and we had it to 2 in the 4th with, I think, 8 minutes left. But it's just, we can't quit turning the ball over. Siakam had another great game in Game 4. I think he had 30 points, 28 points, 7 of 8 free throw shooting. Toppin had another good game off the bench. No, don't look at the 3-point shots. Good God, Obi, why are you taking 5?
He was 2 for 5. I mean, that's fine, you know. Can't be upset about that.
McConnell,
Yeah.
I feel McConnell. I think he's going to have to start getting some more minutes. He's been the spark plug that brought us back to get it within 2. But I mean, he just causes havoc on defense, especially on the inbounds. He has stolen 6 inbound passes in the finals this season.
Yeah, he's done a really nice job. He's a great player, man. The turnovers, though, really, like you talked about, are hurting Indy. And I'll tell you what, you just talk about both teams' role players. There's a lot of guys making themselves a lot of money in this finals. We need to go from Alex Caruso, Aaron Wiggins, Kayson Wallace, Kenrich Williams, bunch of dudes that are playing really well. Obi Toppin, T.J. McConnell, Benedict Mathurin.
Yeah.
Bunch of guys that are all playing really well. Well, shoot, even some other, Andrew Nebhard and Neesmith, a couple more guys that are role players, but they don't feel like role players because how good they are.
Right.
Yeah, I saw a stat, I think, before the finals or whatever, about or maybe not before the finals, but before Game 4, saying that when Tyrese Halliburton scores 20 and 10, it's like they don't lose. I don't remember what exactly the number was. But so that's a mark that he's got to try and get to. And
got to be on the court to do that.
Oklahoma City's done a really nice job of containing him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they haven't completely stopped him offensively, but in general they're keeping him below 20, and they're also they're doing a good enough job on defense in all the other areas that they're not letting anyone else go completely crazy. I mean, Obi Toppin has had really good games, and Pascal Siakam has also had a pretty good series. Mm-hmm. But we're used to seeing Indiana have 7 guys in double figures. That is not happening.
No.
I mean, it was 5 this game, or excuse me, it was 5 in the game I'm looking at, which was Game 4. Let's go
Halliburton,
back.
I think, has had over 20 points in one game in the finals. And I think that was Game 3. Let me just...
Well, in Game 5, OKC just completely did a number on the Pacers offense. Halliburton 0 for 6 in 34 minutes, 0 for 4 from 3. There's only 4 points coming at the free throw line. Siakam with 28.
I don't even see how he had 34 minutes of playing time. It seemed like he was on the bench more than anything.
But Siakam had 28, 13 from Turner, and 13 from Turner and 14 from Neesmith. And then Toppin and Mathurin combined for 30 off the bench. So it's not that they're not getting any kind of contribution from other guys, but it's just not the huge help that we're used to seeing them get. And it all has to do with the fact that OKC, they just play such good defense. Every single guy that plays meaningful minutes for that team is all over the ball. I mean, they had 9 guys play in Game 5, and 8 of them had steals. Make it 7 of them had steals, and 5 of them had multiple steals. 4 of them had multiple steals. Shea with 2, Lou Dort with 2, Caruso with 4 off the bench, and Kason Wallace with 4 off the bench. And when you're causing that much havoc in passing lanes, it's so much pressure that they put on the opposing team on offense. And it's also the fact that Shea is so efficient. I mean, frankly, he hasn't had the most efficient series in the world, but the
last 2 games, he, at least starting off, didn't shoot the ball well.
But he's done a really nice job of...
oh, God, yeah, I didn't realize he was 9 of 21. Ugh.
I mean, which, it's not great. It's not terrible, though. It's 43%. The Game 4, he was at 50%. Game 5, 45%. Game 2, he was 52%. So he's, and he's putting up big numbers every single game. I mean, the lone game where he didn't score 30 was the Game 4 loss in Indy.
Yeah, he had
24.
4.
Yeah.
The thing is, they're just the Thunder. Let me look. Quit. In the 2 losses in the series for the Thunder, they have only gotten to the line. Game 1 was 24, and Game 3 was 30. In the games they win, the lowest, which was this last one on Monday, they are getting to the line. That was 32 Friday was 38, and Game 2 was 37.
Well, and also something big that I mentioned after Game 1, which I felt like would be a huge sticking point in the series, is that in Game 1, the Pacers, they turned the ball over 25 times, and to the 7 of the Thunder. But the thing that kept them in that game was the fact that they didn't allow points off turnovers. They only gave up 11 points off of those turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
In Game 5, they turned the ball over 22 times. They gave up 32 points. Just getting killed. And then, they're not forcing nearly as many turnovers, and they still did good with their points off turnovers. They got double figures, but it wasn't 30-plus points with points off turnovers. That is a huge, sticking point in the series where, like I said, Indiana in the first game, they were able to contain the Thunder transition, and in the losses, I would say that they probably have not done that nearly as well.
No.
Looking at Game 2, which was a loss, they actually did do a pretty good job. 14 points off turnovers. That's pretty good. It's not great, but it's not 30. I'm not even going to look at the next win because what's the point in looking at the win?
Right. That'd be Friday the 13th. The Thunder had
23 points off turnovers, 25. So in the other games, I guess they're at least keeping it close. But then you ask the question, oh wait, if we don't turn the ball over so many times, we're beating them in every other facet of the game. It's just we're giving them the ball, giving them extra shots, and then they're taking advantage of it. So I don't want to say that Indiana doesn't have a chance to still turn this thing around and win it, but tied 2-2 in it's what, OKC on, is it tomorrow night?
No, it's going back to Indy.
Oh.
For Game 6.
Indy, yeah, tomorrow night though. Going back to Indy for Game 6, it's, they're fighting an uphill battle. They just got to be able to survive this one. And then if you get to Game 7, who knows?
Right.
But I did say, this was my series prediction, Thunder in 6. And, some people don't like the idea, don't like the nickname for Shea of the free throw merchant. But I don't care. I don't mind it. The guy just gets to the line all the time.
Shit.
He does a great job at just drawing contact, and then he shoots the ball like 90-something% at the line.
Yeah.
Like,
if we quit putting him at the line and take away his 14 probably attempts a game in the finals, it's a different ballgame, or at least take away half of them. Not let him hit those and one floaters or the step backs where he gets Nembhard or Naismith to get a little grab on the jersey or smack at the hands going by him.
In the finals. And, hey, 2 losses for the Thunder, 7 of 8 from the line, 5 of 6 from the line for Shea.
So he's only missed one.
In the two total, 1 in each game.
Right.
In the 3 wins for the Thunder, 11 of 12, 10 for 10, 13 of 14. Like, in the games in which they're able to defend him without fouling, they won, because all these games are close. I mean, the Game 2 loss, it was a 16-point blowout.
That's the biggest one of them.
And in Game 1, the Thunder were up 9 with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. So 16 points can be made up just like that.
It's nothing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. These have all been relatively close. Indiana, just if they do want to come back, they're just going to have to play good, disciplined defense on Shea. Just don't allow him to get to the line, because that is where they really have been beaten at this point.
Right.
Really.
Giving up the offensive boards, too. Especially when OKC goes too big in the lineup with Hartenstein and Holmgren, they just feast on getting the offensive rebounds just because Turner's probably in foul trouble a majority of the time, and Siakam can't defend them both, box them both out. So just giving up the offensive boards And Indy needs to go back to what got them here in the first place. Transition offense, defense from offense. I don't know how many times in Game 5 that they had a steal and they would wait for everybody to get in the front court. No, you have the Thunder on their heels when you're running by them, and then you stop and I call it the coffin corner right there between the half court and the out of bounds line, and they just sit there and let everybody catch up and let OKC come back and set defense. That's what happened. I mean, look, in that Game 1 win against New York, all of Aaron Naismith's threes were all in transition. In the comeback against Game 1 against the Thunder, I think 2 of Halliburton's shots were in transition. The 3 was just a lucky one that had that good bounce to roll in. But their transition offense from defense is what got them there, and they need to quit. They need to get back to that. And I guess we need to also wait and see what Halliburton's MRI shows, because he's got that today to see. I think they said it's his right calf.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's the calf that kind of cost him a bunch of time over the last couple of years, and what kind of made it look like he wasn't the same guy for a while. And yeah, also, like you were just making a point about, fast break points. Indiana, they like to get out and run, and so far in this series, they've done an okay job, but the Thunder, they've done a better job of being able to get back and not let them do too much running. The last 2 games, they had less than 20 fast break points.
Both losses.
Yeah, both losses. In the Game 3 win, they did have 17 fast break points, but that's still not a ton. You would expect more out of that if you're Indiana. In the Game 1 win, let's see what there was.
I don't remember Game 1 having a lot.
11-10.
Okay.
So they
Indy
won it
was
barely.
down the whole game until the final second, literally, in Game 1. So, yeah. They just got to go back to the fundamentals that got them there. I mean, how you just took it to New York in those first 2 games was their transitional offense and defense. What they did against Cleveland was just scoring in transition, not letting them get set on defense. I'm still got hope. Granted, it's a lot of hope. And I saw this morning, Indiana has a better chance of winning next year's championship than coming back down from 3-2 this year.
That's wild.
Yeah. So, I'm hoping. I'm still holding on hope. And win this game tomorrow night. All right.
So we'll definitely be watching that one.
God, can you believe by the time we're in here next week, we're going to have to be talking about the draft for NBA too?
NBA draft.
Because that's
and
next
the finals.
Wednesday.
Hey, man, Connor Knippel, he's been flying up the boards. I've seen that he could go as high as 3. People definitely liking the Duke products this year.
I guess, who is, let me look at this real quick and see who the mock draft is behind.
We don't talk a lot of hockey on here, but I will say, yet another season in which Canada has not won a Stanley Cup. It's going to make it at least until 2026, which, I mean, we're approaching, are we getting close to 4 decades? Because we're already above 3. It's been since 92.
3.
Well, it was, 92 was the last time, though, right?
93, Montreal beat LA.
Oh, okay. So it was actually the 93s. Okay, I got my.
So it's 32 years.
Come on, Canada, get it together. I do kind of feel a little
I will
bad
say though, this is
for Connor
probably
McDavid.
Yeah, I do want him to win one
He's
eventually.
awesome. Yeah, it'd be great for him to be able to win.
I guess
one.
as long as they don't play Florida for a 3rd straight year, they can maybe get it done. But I will say though that this was definitely the highest scoring that I've seen in the Stanley Cup in a long time. I mean, last night Florida won 5-1. Game 5, Florida won 5-2. 5-4. The Oilers won.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's the one. The Oilers were getting their tails like kicked around the ice most of the game, and then they had a huge comeback. Or
Yes, they were down 3-0 at the end of the first period.
Mm-hmm.
Then they scored 3 in the second. Both teams scored 1 in the third, and Edmonton won in an overtime. But yeah, I mean, you've got 7 goals in game 5, 6 last night, 7 the game 2, game 3 was 9, 5-4. That one went to overtime too. So yeah, maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
Do we have anything else to talk about?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I was trying to think if there was anything I saw that I wanted to bring up. Nothing that I can think of. Well, then let me look at the NBA mock draft, and we can maybe talk about that for a little bit. Let me find one. I mean, we all know the Mavericks are going to get Cooper Flagg. Let's see. Second, Dylan Harper from Rutgers to the Spurs. A guard.
Well, that is. Oh yeah, I guess we can talk about the KD stuff. KD trade rumors.
Oh, I did see that. I forgot. I did see that. I want to pull up what was there? There was like 5 trades or 5 teams on there, or was it?
I'm not 100% sure. I know that the Spurs were one of them.
And I think the Rockets were too.
Yes.
Let's see.
So you said San Antonio, Houston, or Miami. The Spurs have the 2nd and the 14th picks in this year's draft, just to start with. And from my understanding, he initially said that he wouldn't go to the Wolves, but I think he might have walked that back.
This one, what was this by? Sports Illustrated 2 hours ago. Kevin Durant next blockbuster 3-team trade that would have sent him to the Wolves.
Okay, so yeah, never mind.
Let's see, do they have what it would have been? No, of course not. Let's see, this one from SB Nation, I don't know how trustworthy they are. In trades, they have one going for KD going to Spurs. It looks like they have Keldon Johnson. Oh, God, let me zoom in. Is that Jeremy Shohan, Harrison Barnes, and a 25 and a 27 first-round pick. And the Spurs get KD.
So here's some stuff, some maybe trade ideas that also from SB Nation. The Knicks, an
okay,
option.
I'll just scroll back up to the top.
Is one that they have Cat Towns, and I'm not sure who the other guy is. I got a feeling you'd need some draft capital in order to get that done, because there's no way I'm giving KD up straight up for Karl Anthony Towns.
No.
Maybe I'm insane, but maybe I'm not.
No, with an older KD, no.
In the 5 spot, because there are 6 options, 6 different things, the Suns would be trading KD to the Raptors in this scenario, and that is very interesting to me because, as we all remember, the Raptors were the team that traded for Kawhi Leonard, and they didn't even try to re-sign him. They were like, we like the team that we got, and if we add Kawhi, we think that is good enough to go win a title. And it was against KD in the Warriors, and the thoughts around the league are kind of that. Why wouldn't the Raptors try that again? Mm-hmm. So that was the proposed trade would be Kevin Durant for Jakob Poeltl.
That's how you say his
RJ
name?
Barrett, yeah.
Okay.
RJ Barrett, and then a 2025 second, and a 2026 first, and a 2031 first. So that's an option. Mm-hmm. The Suns could go for
Miami.
For Miami, which
Good Lord.
that would also be interesting because this gets you back some more role players and
I was about to say,
some
it gets
guys. Some
Phoenix
guys
a bench.
Some guys I was gonna say, dudes that, if Phoenix trades him, I kind of feel like they would be in teardown mode, but you would be able to take a guy like Andrew Wiggins and a guy like Duncan Robinson and flip those guys for more picks. So if that would be the case, then like I just said, you could turn those guys around and flip them for more picks because everyone always wants guys that can shoot like Duncan Robinson, and Andrew Wiggins is a very good small forward in this league. And then it also has a 2025 first and a 2031 first.
So that would be KD, Bam, and Tyler Hero in Miami?
Yeah,
All right.
that would be interesting, to say the least. And don't they also have Terry Rozier? I don't know if he got an extension or if he was still under contract, but there's your point guard. If so, Suns to the Wolves. This is a lot.
Okay, this was the one that was nixed, I guess.
Oh, this says the Wolves reportedly tried to land KD at the trade deadline, and they could be even more motivated after two straight conference finals losses. Any Durant deal either would be built around Rudy Gobert or Julius Randle, and the latter holds a player option for next season. They don't see how swapping Gobert for Durant would improve Minnesota's title equity. Well, I do. You get a guy that can't score out of your team, and you get a guy that is one of the best just scorers in league history.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just going to stop with that explanation because that kind of seemed foolish to me. But this has Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, Rob Dillingham, and a first-round pick. That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good haul, especially because once again, if you are tearing down, these are guys that you could probably go and solicit more picks for. So.
All right, then we got one with Houston.
Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, Jack Landau, or is it Jock Landau?
Jock.
Okay, I was going to say, I can't tell.
I zoomed in because that's small print.
2025 first and 2028 first.
God, I remember watching Jabari Smith play at Flying to the Hoop.
Getting old.
God, I'm old. I am. Shit.
Jalen Green making $33 million a year, but he, he's turned himself into a really nice piece.
So if that works out for the Rockets, you'd have KD, you'd have Van Vliet.
I don't know if you'd count Van Vliet as like part of a big three or anything like that, but it'd be KD, it'd be Sengun, and actually, then you got KD, Sengun. They just re-signed Adams. Like that would be a really interesting roster.
Yeah. Then you got Amen Thompson.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Amen Thompson. And guys like Dylan Brooks, who is a pesky defender. Cam Whitmore, Tari Eason. I mean, they got some depth. I definitely... Jay Sean Tate. Does he actually play for them?
And then we got...
Yeah, he does.
Then you have the Spurs one down at the bottom. Spurs would be sending Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Shohan, and then a first-round pick in 25 and 27.
I would do that in a heartbeat as a Spurs fan. I like all three of those players, but that is a no-doubter. You would have KD, you'd have Wemby, and De'Aaron Fox as that's your top line, or as that's your big three. And then, I mean, I'm blanking out on many of the other Spurs. But, oh yeah, obviously can't forget about Stephon Castle or Devin Vassell, who wouldn't have had to trade either of those guys in that said scenario. Julian Champagnie, another guy that, like I said, wouldn't have had to trade in that scenario. Malachi Branham. This is a deep team that the Spurs have. And if you're able to not unload a ton of those guys and able to add a guy like Kevin Durant,
right,
well, the Spurs are going to be in title contention much, much, much faster than what a lot of people were expecting.
So let's see, see the Spurs. That's what it's like. What if the Spurs go? I mean, they have the second pick in the draft, so it's like, do you just give up the pick this year to Phoenix, or do you try to pick somebody that maybe Phoenix won't touch and you can still get rid of it, or still keep it? I meant.
Oh no, I think if you have a chance to add Wemby to KD, you almost have to do it immediately. Just do it. I mean, because that gives, I mean, and like I just said, just look at the top of that roster again. You have Wemby and KD at the very top. De'Aaron Fox and Devin Vassell is kind of like your third and fourth guy. Stephon Castle, who won Rookie of the Year and is amazing. Then you would be able to keep guys like Julian Champagnie, Bismack Biyombo, and any of the other guys down there that you would want to, really. I would make the Spurs very, very dangerous, very, very quick. With the Spurs being my second favorite team, and the Celtics probably not doing too much next year because of the Tatum Achilles injury. You know what? Hey, if the Spurs can win it next year, that'd be something crazy and fantastic.
No, is Tatum going to miss a lot of time?
It's typically a 9-month recovery. It's an Achilles tear.
Anything else? Or are we going to end a little bit early?
I think that's about it.
All right.
So I guess don't forget to like the show on all the social media platforms. Don't forget to share it. And yeah, that's going to be it for week number. Episode number.
Don't get into the weeks
number
now,
one.
Andy.
Number 148 of Play by Play. I'll get it out, boys and girls.
Is your dyslexic coming in?
Yep. Hey, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. That's all.